You ever wonder why so many New Year's resolutions just completely fizzle out by February? I mean, why is it so incredibly hard to make a change stick? We always blame our willpower or maybe the diet plan we're on, but the real reason might be something much, much deeper, something we barely even think about. Today, we're going to dig into that surprising answer, and it all comes down to one word: identity. Okay, so let's dive right in with a super simple scenario. Picture two people, right? Both are trying to stop smoking. Someone comes up and offers them a cigarette. The first person says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." The second person says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." Now, on the surface, that seems like such a tiny difference in wording, doesn't it? But trust me, that little difference, it's everything. So, let's break that down. What's really going on here? Well, the person who says, "I'm trying to quit," still sees themselves as a smoker. Deep down, that's their identity, and they're just fighting against it. But that second person, whoa, they've already made a huge shift inside their own head. By saying, "I'm not a smoker," they're stating a fact about who they are now. Smoking is something they used to do. It's in their past, not their present. And that simple example leads us straight to the heart of the problem, a little something we can call identity sabotage. This is that hidden, sneaky reason why our best laid plans just seem to fall apart. It's because we're starting in the completely wrong place. Here's the classic, totally flawed approach most of us take. First, we decide on an outcome we want, like, "I want to be skinny." Simple enough. Then, step 2, we define a process. Okay, I'll follow this new diet. But that final, crucial step is the one we always miss. We completely ignore our own identity. We never stop and ask what kind of beliefs are actually driving our behavior in the first place. And that is why it's so hard. When you try to force a brand new behavior on top of an old identity, that old version of you is always going to fight back. It's like an anchor just pulling you back to your old ways because, frankly, the new stuff just doesn't feel like you. Your old identity is literally sabotaging your new plans. Now get this. This isn't just some weird psychological quirk that only happens to us. This is actually a fundamental principle of how all systems work. To really get it, we need to look at the true engine behind every single thing you do, your system of beliefs. This quote really just nails it, doesn't it? Our actions, our habits, they don't just pop up out of nowhere. They're the visible results of our invisible beliefs. So if you change the belief, the action just sort of naturally follows. And if you want to see this idea play out on a massive scale, just think about a democracy versus a dictatorship. In a democracy, the core beliefs are all about freedom and majority rule. So a behavior like voting, it's encouraged. It makes perfect sense. But in a dictatorship, the core beliefs are absolute authority and obedience. Trying to get people to vote there is basically pointless. The behavior is impossible because it completely clashes with the system's core identity. And that's the big insight here. This pattern isn't just about governments. It's true for you and me as individuals. It's true for the companies we work for. It's true for entire societies. Every single system out there is shaped by a core identity, a set of beliefs that ends up driving all of its habits. Okay, so that's the big picture. Let's bring this powerful idea back down to something personal, something you can actually use. If we want to create real, lasting change, we have to totally reframe our goals. We need to stop asking what we want to do and start asking a much better question. Who do we want to be? This is the bottom line. It's the fundamental rule of the game. You can try to force a new habit with sheer willpower, sure, but if that behavior doesn't line up with your self-image, with who you believe you are, it's just not going to last. Your internal identity will win. It always does. Let's make this super concrete. Say your goal is to have more money. That's the outcome. But if your identity, deep down, is that of a consumer and not a creator, you're always going to be pulled towards spending. It's going to be a constant uphill battle to earn and save, because that action just goes against the grain of who you believe you are. Or how about this one? It's a classic. Maybe your goal is better health, but if your core identity is someone who prioritizes comfort over that feeling of accomplishment you get from a tough workout, well, you're always going to be drawn to relaxing on the couch instead of hitting the gym. The need for comfort will always override the plan for accomplishment. And you see, this is the trap that we all fall into. We get all excited about a new goal, we make the perfect plan, our intentions are amazing, but we forget the most important piece of the puzzle: changing the underlying beliefs about who we are. We have a new plan, but we're still the same old person. And this, right here, is the ultimate shift in perspective. True, lasting change doesn't start with what you want to get. It doesn't even start with the process you follow. It starts with your identity. So as you think about your own goals, don't start with what you want to have. Start with the person you wish to become. That is the real starting line.